Hello and welcome to the Banker's Tech Talk video series looking at the developments in the world of fintechs. I'm Joy Macknight, Deputy and Technology Editor at The Banker. And I'm joined by Michael Rolph, CEO of Yoyo Wallet, a mobile payment and loyalty platform. Michael, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
So can you tell me a little bit about what Yoyo Wallet does?
Yeah, absolutely. So Yoyo is a platform, essentially, and that platform is a series of APIs. So we have an
application programming interfaces.
Absolutely. And what that enables us to do is provide a various number of services. So on one side, we are able to tokenize a customer's identity, and we perform that through when somebody downloads and registers via an app, that we not only take their personal details and anonymize them, but we also enable them to add things like a payment method to their token. The second service we have is what we call the Commerce API, and that's the ability to be integrated into any point of sale system, whether that's in-store or online. And then the third part of our sort of API service suite is what we call the Wallet API, and that's the ability to do things like run loyalty programs and issue fully itemized digital receipts and things like that. And those APIs come together, and we actually then provide a series of different interactions. So if you are somebody that already has an app in the market, in the retail sector, you could use our API to further enhance the capabilities of your app offering. Or, as we have done with our own app, Yoyo, we've used the full suite of what's possible with our platform and put an app out that's being used in pretty much 70% of all the universities in the UK today, and increasingly going live at pretty much most UK head offices as well. And that app is being used for somebody to be able to pay, to collect their loyalty seamlessly, to get a fully itemized digital receipt, and they're actually then also ordinarily on the end of sort of personalized offers that are being sent by the retailers.
Okay, so what are the big benefits that both clients and retailers can see?
So from a consumer's perspective, it's pretty simple. It's just the most beautiful way to pay and to transact. You know, one interaction, and not only have you got what you wanted, but you also collected loyalty without having to think about it. You've got a fully itemized digital receipt, and invariably you've got any rewards or offers that may be due as part of that transaction experience that you qualify for, or at a future date, you're getting something that's a little bit more meaningful in terms of the context and relevance to you in terms of the things you like. From a retailer's perspective, it's actually about letting them get to know their customers based on buying preferences, habits and behaviours. And that's something that has ordinarily been in the realms of the big supermarkets. If you think like someone like Tesco Clubcard, they've been in the beneficiaries of being able to match customers to their basket data for the best part of 15 years now. And so what we're doing essentially is democratizing that ability to all retailers. So no matter who you are, whether you're an independent coffee shop on the corner of a street, all the way through to a big omni-channel retailer, being able to get that single customer view is something that in the world in which we live, it's now digitally native, increasingly important.
Okay. And in the UK, open banking was brought in January this year. Obviously, we're sort of moving through testing phases and things like that. And with it came the standard API. Sort of what benefits do you think it's going to bring Yoyo Wallet? And, is it going to change your business model at all?
So we think open banking, and let's sort of wrap in the context of PSD2, because these two things are, in the end, going to be one and the same thing, more or less. We think it's incredibly exciting. And it's not necessarily where we start that's exciting, because if you actually look at what the sort of first iteration of that common API is enabling, it's fairly limited. But what it has done is it's obviously made the banks do the hard work. And the hard work is to create that middleware interface into their legacy platform infrastructure. So now they've done that, and they've got the ability to interact with their infrastructure. They have essentially the framework now to be able to say, right, well, let's build some more APIs. And those APIs don't necessarily have to be common. They could be specific to each bank in terms of the partnerships they want to work with. That's what we're excited about. We've actually been at the forefront of open banking for quite a while now. We've had some significant partnerships that we've announced more recently. I think probably one of the most interesting ones was the work we've done with Starling, who I think are an example of what beyond the common open banking API can enable. So, for example, I described earlier on what Yoyo is able to do through an app experience. What we've actually now enabled through our work with Starling is that you can actually use your bank debit card, so your Starling debit card, to transact at a retailer. And if that retailer is running on the Yoyo commerce API rails, we're able to then seamlessly automate the delivery of loyalty points, stamps, whatever it may be, deliver an itemized digital receipt, to participate in any reward and offers, exactly like I described at the beginning, but all through using a contactless or chip and pin transaction. Now, the next stage of that is that we also, and this is live already with us and Starling, is we're able to take all of that data that we capture through the point of sale from the retailer, the retailer's enabled, and actually deliver that straight into the Starling banking app. So now, for the first time, you have a banking app that actually has a fully itemized digital receipt with your transaction history, as opposed to just a list of the transactions you've made. And it also has the ability to give you a view of your retailer-specific loyalty. Now, we think this is revolutionary, because if you think about banking apps today, by and large, you use them for three things. You look at them when you want to see how much money you haven't got, because if you've got money, you don't really care to look, right? You're only looking when you want to know if you're on the cusp of triggering an overdraft charge. The second reason is because you want to send money to somebody, and the third reason is because you want to check you got paid. So now, if you think about the context of what Yoyo is enabling, and you wrap that into the mobile banking app, what we're actually doing, what we believe we're going to enable, is banks to re-intermediate themselves into the everyday payment experience for all of their customers. And that's something that we see from an industry perspective, they have kind of stepped away from, sometimes deliberately, because they make certain decisions to sell payment assets. But more recently, I think it's a case that technology innovation has just swept over them, and they've enabled things like Apple Pay and Google Wallet that, in a world that's becoming increasingly digitally native, just disintermediates them completely from a customer experience. So we're excited because we think we're here to save the banks.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Michael.
Thank you.